Welcome to another community conversation. I'm your host, Ian Parkinson. I'm here today with members of the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce. Lisa Dressler, the Executive Director. I have Stephen Heid, the President of the Chamber of Commerce. And Naomi Zacharias, who's a newly minted employee in the Brooks section of the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, big news, big times. You're now the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce, separate from what used to be Medicine Hat and Brooks. Why the amalgamation?
Well, great question. The amalgamation was mostly due to trying to strengthen the Southeast business support,
Okay.
Southeast Alberta business support, I would say. The Brooks Chamber was having challenges supporting their business community, and they had reached out and talked to us about this potential endeavor. And in 2023, I believe November 2023, they dissolved their chamber.
Okay.
And the Medicine Hat District Chamber of Commerce applied for the name change, as well as taking the region. Okay. So those were steps that had to be gone through a huge process. I can't remember what the process was. Lisa, can you help me out with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're incorporated under the Federal Boards of Trade Act. And so our chamber was formed way back in 1900. And chambers actually under the Board of Trade Act can't merge. So you often hear about mergers or acquisitions, and that's not an opportunity that we have available to us. So you do have to go through a dissolution and then an application to change the name and change the boundaries. So so that was the process that we went through, and we had to wait essentially until we got a federal order in council from the Privy Council of Canada to approve that application, which just came through in April of 2024.
So there are disadvantages to being around for a while. So how long is what is now the Southeast Alberta Chamber, but how long was the Medicine Hat Chamber?
So we were formed on May 28th, 1900, and so we'll be celebrating our 125th anniversary in 2025.
Well, we shall have to have you back to talk about that one. So now that you're the Southeast Chamber, that's a fairly large area. How big is it, Naomi?
Well, there's several communities in there. We've got, in the Newell Regional, we've got Brooks, Rosemary, Bassano, Dutchess, Tilly, Rolling Hills. I mean, you've got numerous hamlets, villages.
So you're pretty much the old Palliser region. Very close.
It's very similar. So when you consider all the communities within the county of Newell, and then as Naomi mentioned, we have Bassano, Brooks, Dutchess, Rosemary, and that's in addition to our historical district area of Medicine Hat, Redcliffe, and Cypress County. So we actually cover 19,854 square kilometers. I had to look at my notes for that one. And a population base of over 105,000 people. And there's over 3,750 businesses within the region. So a pretty good sized landmass. Not quite the same coverage as Palliser, but for people who are familiar with that, it would be quite similar.
So Naomi, you're located now in Brooks.
Yes.
So then what are you looking forward to in the Brooks area?
I'm really looking forward to helping the businesses really connect with each other, connect with the city, connect with the community. There's just so much that we can offer in the way of events. We've got the trade show coming up in fall, October 4th through 6th. I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of the local businesses to really showcase what they can do and what they offer the area. Different learning events. So many of the events that they offer here in Medicine Hat, like learning from the experts, things like that. I'm working with the different business owners in Brooks and asking, what do you want to see? What would you like? What are your needs? and working on tailoring some of the events that happen here and bring them to Brooks so that they are well received and
Right.
exactly
Welcome
what they
with open
need,
arms.
right?
And I think that's one of the advantages that we have. It's a little bit of a fresh start. And
Yes.
so Naomi is really focused on meeting with the businesses one-on-one, connecting with them to find out where are the gaps. Like, we don't have to do things just because they've always been done that way. We want to ensure that when we're connecting with those businesses, we're trying to figure out what the gaps are and where they need the support that we're able to provide, because we do have a lot of events, activities, processes, and opportunities in place. And so it's just a matter of connecting and finding out what they need in the Brooks Newell region.
Yeah, because in preparation for the show, I was going through your website. And I mean, that's a significant amount of not only information, but networking and connections. So before we go any farther, if somebody is new to town, wants to start a business, or somebody has a business in the Southeast Alberta area and they're looking to expand or move, how do they get a hold of the chamber?
So the best way is, obviously, they can go to our website at southeastalbertachamber.ca, or they can give us a call at 403-527-5214, and we'd be happy to connect them. So there's a lot of resources that are available for startup businesses and new businesses, and for businesses really at any point along their journey. And so it's just figuring out what they need. And so we provide, and Naomi mentioned about connections, we really do provide those connections to figure out what the best support they need is, and make sure that they get access to that. So whether that's through us as a Chamber of Commerce or one of our partner agencies or organizations. So, making sure they're connected with their municipality if they need a business license or a development permit, or perhaps if they're just in that ideation stage of business and they haven't really actually launched their business, we might connect them with resources like a Community Futures or a Business Link, where they can actually help them move that idea into an actual business plan, because we're really there to support the business once they have their business license and they're ready to hit the ground. But we often hear from businesses, "Oh, I wish I would have connected with you sooner." And so the more we can get that information out, the better, because we can help them along their journey.
So, Stephen,
Yes.
You're a private business owner as well as the president.
Correct. Yes.
So what attracted you to the chamber?
So personally, we've been a chamber member for years. Always been a chamber member, but there's so many benefits to being a chamber member. Number one, probably the chamber benefits plan for employee benefits. That's a huge thing. The resources that we've already talked about, you go to their website and there's a business resources page. You can scroll through that. Pretty much anything that you need to start up a business, or if you're struggling, those resources are there. The biggest part for me is the business advocacy. So anytime a local or regional business is struggling and they feel alone, they can reach out to the chamber, and 9 times out of 10, the entire industry is feeling the same thing.
Yes.
So we can put together policies or get the groups together to try to solve their own issues, or put policies together to help them through it. So I think that's one of the biggest things.
Do you find you can provide a better focus as a private businessman to the chamber and their services?
Sorry, question again?
Well, you're a private businessman.
Yeah.
So you obviously joined the Chamber of Commerce not only for the advantages they could provide to you,
Correct. Yeah.
but then as a businessman, I suspect you could also provide a different perspective to the chamber.
Gotcha. As a board member.
Yeah.
Yes. So absolutely. I joined the chamber board 5 years ago. And to be honest, I wasn't sure exactly what to expect. And I find that all new board members coming on don't know exactly what to expect, and that's fine. Just coming out to applying to be a board member, you will get so much out of it. It's such a great experience. The networking, the people that you meet, the knowledge that you gain on running businesses, on other industries, that type of thing. There's so much to be gained just from being a board member. And yes, I've gone up through the ranks, and now I'm president, and past president next year, and then I'll come off, and other people will take on these roles. But it's such a great opportunity for anybody in business to be a part of it.
Well, I think the networking is a big thing, because especially as a business person, because if you can go into business with somebody else to provide you with a product, it's circular.
That's right.
And then you go, Naomi, apparently there was a significant announcement in the Brooks region last week.
Yeah, JBS had actually announced an $80 million expansion onto their facility. It's going to mean some really big changes within Brooks. I mean, there's going to be a lot going on. I think it's pretty exciting.
So they're basically doubling the size of the plant.
I believe so.
So was the chamber involved at all in that?
So we always like to be involved in special occasions, special announcements, anything like that. And it's something we encourage businesses to connect with us on, so that we can share the good news and make sure that the region is aware of some of these news stories that are occurring here in Southeast Alberta. I think oftentimes we're quite humble in this corner of the province, and we don't share all of the different activities, and that's the benefit of having a Southeast Alberta Chamber, is we can truly bring we can bring the region together and to celebrate the successes and celebrate some of those stories. Yeah. We have long-standing businesses here who have been around for over 100 years in this region, and we have some amazing large industrial manufacturers, producers. We have a thriving agriculture community in the Southeast Alberta region. So we have some really core industries that are important and that we need to celebrate.
I'll throw this one out to the three of you. The Alberta government now, in the last year, 18 months, has been talking about a lot of corridors. They refer to Highway 3 as the agricultural corridor, Highway 1, Highway 2 as the aero technology corridor. So how does that tie in with your now Southeast Alberta region?
So the expansion or prioritization of trade corridors is something that, as chambers, we've talked about for a very long time. And it's connecting resources and industry together and making sure that there's the efficient and effective movement of goods through those corridors. And so the government of Alberta saw the opportunity in terms of that east-west corridor and the focus on agri-trade in particular, because there is a substantial amount of agriculture opportunity within the southern Alberta corridor. And so it's just capitalizing on those connections, that investment, making sure that it's a little bit easier to do business and a little bit easier to move product, particularly along Highway 1 and Highway 3. And of course, with Highway 3, one of the challenges has been that it hasn't, only a portion of that's been twinned.
Yes.
And so when we see that prioritization of corridors, you also see investment occurring. So whether that's through irrigation, which there's been announcements in terms of irrigation expansion, or on highway infrastructure. And so it's just making sure that kind of moves along a little bit more quickly than perhaps what we may have seen in the past.
Well, it's kind of a horse and cart thing. Sometimes you've got to put the horse before the cart, sometimes the cart before... Because if you build a highway, then the business comes. But sometimes the business come, and then you have to move them to put the highway in. Bow Island now has a Tim Hortons. If that is not a signature document of this town is growing, I don't know what is, besides a Costco. Oh, you got a Costco, you must be a big city. Stephen, what other challenges is the board facing in the near future here?
A lot of the time, when you're dealing with governments, things do move quite slowly, and it's the chamber's job to try to keep the momentum going and bring up the questions until we get results, I guess, is the best way that I can answer that. Those are some of the biggest challenges, is making sure that everything is followed through. You can bring challenges forward for our business community, but if you're not following forward and making sure that it's being addressed, then you're doing nothing for them. So.
Right, and I guess this is where the Chamber's connections within all the levels of government and organization come into play to help some poor little one-person business.
And you would be amazed the impact of this local chamber. Lisa has a lot of respect throughout the province and different government levels. And our Chamber of Medicine has a lot of pull within the province, believe it or not. So.
Well, you've been around a long time. You've established a very high reputation for getting things done.
Absolutely.
And for us, relationships are key.
Yeah.
So relationships with our business community and those members to build the trust with them that they can provide that information and know that we're going to carry that message forward, but also trust within the different levels of government. I think a lot of people don't realize that we work on every level of government, whether it's a municipal, provincial, or federal issue. And so, being able to have those conversations and work to influence some of those decisions.
Yeah.
And it's challenging sometimes because it doesn't happen overnight. As Steve said, it's a long game.
Yeah.
Because we are not in the position of the decision-making authority. So all that we are equipped to do is provide that business case or the justification as to why that change needs to happen, and to continue to work through some of those recommendations until we see that things have changed and can operate a little bit more fluidly.
And you finally get your picture taken with the shovel and the helmet, right? We're finally going to make this happen. Naomi, is Brooks going to have a trade show?
Yes. As I mentioned before, we've got trade show coming up October 4th through 6th.
Okay.
We do have registration open now, so vendors can go onto our website and follow through the links, and under events, they can go down to the trade shows and they can register for Brooks trade show. They can register for Medicine Hat trade show from there. So either or, whichever they decide.
Now, you don't have to be just, when you say vendor, you don't have to be just a seller. You could be a service provider.
Correct.
Right across the business spectrum, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah, organizations, home-based businesses, big corporations, all different sizes.
Municipalities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't realize the impact that a trade show can have, because you're getting FaceTime with thousands of consumers that come through the door. So whether it's for brand recognition, like Steve may have his own following of clients for Lacey Homes, but there's always potential to reach new clients, new customers, as well as continue to build those relationships with existing customers. So we get everything from realtors and investment advisors to not-for-profit organizations to artisans to retail businesses. And I think a lot of people come to trade shows to see kind of what's new and what's unique, and they want to see a mix of some of those service providers depending on what their needs are, as well as kind of what's unique, new, and different that they want to purchase.
Yeah, the handmade fudge.
Yeah, yes.
And the amazing mops.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the trade shows for me make sense, because if especially in the next few years, because if I look at the number of new people who moved into this province, like by January it was somewhere around 220,000. So they're not only just looking for a realtor, they're looking for a car dealer, they're looking for a plumber, they're looking for some guy to fix the fence. And it strikes me, the trade show, pay you $2, walk in, have a popcorn, a pop, and a hot dog, and wander around and find out who's available.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a lot less time than searching the internet. And you never know, you might run into the odd friend. So is there anything else that the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce would like to share today?
I think it might be kind of fun to point out that in the Brooks Trade Show, we kind of heard back from some of the the artisans and the smaller home-based businesses. They wanted an area that supported businesses of their size. So we actually introduced a little artisan market over by the food area that is available for these smaller businesses. It's pretty super exciting, actually. We're looking forward to seeing all the different homemade crafts and art and anything that you might find even in a farmer's market.
Oh, this is almost like a hive, like a business hive for small artisan.
Yeah, it'll be a nice little sectioned off area. It'll have a beautiful flow within the whole show. It should sit beautifully in there, actually, and having it right next to the food vendors. We're going to have nice draw through the whole show. People will go through and visit all the big vendors, and then people of Brooks love their farmers market, so they're going to go on through and they're going to, go get their food and hit the farmers market and, artisan. So I think it's a beautiful addition to the trade show, I think.
I think it's a good idea. There's a lot of artistry, excellent artists across the whole spectrum of art and what have you. And I think a lot of times they have very little opportunity to actually show their wares. So that's a very good idea. And if they can sit down and have a cappuccino and a raspberry scone at the same time, so much the better. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Lisa?
Well, of course, there's always stuff I can add. Really, the primary message would be that the Chamber has 3 pillars that we provide service around, and that's through our connections, our support, and our influence. And so whether it's connections between business to business, business to government, business to resources, or different supports, we have over 40 different discounts and services that we offer to business, as well as member exclusive deals that businesses can offer to other businesses and their employees, as well as supports through information and resources that we can provide to business. And of course, we talked a little bit about the influence that we have. And so when people ask what the Chamber does, we usually sum it up in those 3 words, that we can provide connection, support, and influence.
And a big one, Stephen briefly alluded to it. You offer an employee healthcare package.
We do. We have our health and dental benefits, and that is one of the big reasons that businesses will join, is because it is a pooled plan. It's a not-for-profit company that provides health and dental for small business. So even if it's a sole operator or entrepreneur, they can also get group benefits, even though they're not a group or have multiple employees. So
Well, healthcare is expensive.
Yeah.
So I noticed there was a piece on Thursday or Friday's paper. The city's hired a rural renewal coordinator. I imagine that ties into your field of influence.
So workforce has been a big challenge for our businesses in terms of attracting, retaining, and providing skill development for their labor force. And so the Rural Renewal Program was a program that the City of Medicine had, and their regional partners had applied to the provincial government for that status. And just to streamline the process, if somebody is bringing workers in to fill the jobs that are available.
So Naomi, how does the Rural Renewal Coordinator Program work for Brooks?
Brooks was one of the first communities to sign on with the program. So it is basically the pilot project. And if people are interested in learning more about it, they can definitely reach out to the City of Brooks for more information on that.
Well, thank you for coming in. We'll see at least one of you for your 125th anniversary of the Chamber. This was another Community Conversations. Thank you for watching.